What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY, ESNQ, the QQQ, and many tickers out there. I'm going to break down what's happening with Tesla stock, what's going on with news involving the markets and earnings, and then also big news for Tesla. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. So for Tesla, we're looking more bullish, forming a bullish wedge. And I just want to note that the market is just full of manipulation. One day the market is dumping really hard, the next day the market is pumping back up, and we're seeing this manipulation that's trying to hurt retail. And this is how these market makers are making lots of money. So from the way things are looking now, the market's making a big U-turn, and Tesla is starting to look more bullish. Whether or not we continue to remain bullish depends on a lot of different factors and levels. So I will talk more about that in just a couple of minutes. But I first want to talk about some very important data. So, why did the market firstly start pushing today? The answer is we got initial jobless claims and continuing jobless claims. The data was not too bad. Initial jobless claims was below expectations, showing signs that the labor market improved for the month of August, at least for the start. And then continuing jobless claims was quite decent. This was aligned with expectations. So, what's going on right now is the data that first came out before for unemployment was pretty bad earlier during the week, even for like last week. And then for today, when the data came out, the data was better and the market's liking that. So that's actually a reason why the market started to push a bit. And then later on, I just want to mention that tomorrow is going to be Friday, August 9th, 2024. There's not really much data coming out, so don't really worry too much about data tomorrow. I'm not really seeing anything too significant. But on Tuesday, next Tuesday, August 13th, we have PPI data coming out and Bostic giving a speech. There might be some volatility thanks to this. And then for Wednesday, August 14th, we also have the one and only CPI report coming out. This is going to cause a massive move. So next week is going to be huge for the markets. Get ready for that. I think the market's getting ready for these big pieces of volatility that are going to be coming. That's why we're going to be looking for some interesting moves for the week. Now, for earnings, I went over many of these already. I just want to note that going into SoundHound and then Unity and Paramount, they all announced earnings after the market closed for today. And for tomorrow, we have Nikola announcing its earnings too. So what happened with Paramount? I think that's one of the most important ones that just came out. The share price is still up despite having not the best of earnings. They're going to be cutting their workforce by about 15%. That's about 2,000 jobs. And also, things are not as great. They identified $500 million in cost savings plans. And then we have EPS at 54 cents, adjusted. That's well above expectations, which is great. But revenue is a miss at 6.81 billion, being down 11% of what analysts were expecting. So, not the best of news. Bad revenue and decent earnings. But what is good, we do have something that's very good, is the fact that we have a profit of about $26 million after losing $424 million a year ago. So, that's a nice looking amount of growth for the quarter. Analysts were expecting a loss of $265 million for this quarter. Instead, we saw a profit, and that is great news for them. They also raised their prices, but despite that, seeing the profit that came out is a great piece of news, and that offset a lot of the bad news. That's part of the reason why Paramount's in the green. For news about the markets, I just want to mention that right now, fear is making up the majority of sentiment. People are scared. The market is still has this fear that's dictating a lot of the views. Right now, despite that fear, we're still seeing buyers defending, and the market makers are pushing things a little higher. SPY is attempting to reclaim its 125 daily moving average, so we're seeing some life. On top of this, the puts and call option positioning is going up as we're seeing a lot of puts being bought for the last 5 days. This is the 5 day average, guys. This is not like everything at the present time, just the average of what's going on. And we're seeing a lot more put buying. We're still seeing a lot of fear in the markets. Volatility is quite fearful. We're still seeing a lot of fear that's building up, and simultaneously, there's a lot of other things going on. So I'm wondering something, okay? Could it be that as everyone is shorting the market makers might try to squeeze shorts? Could that be what's about to happen just temporarily? And then once everyone starts to turn bullish, they give us another rug pull. Could that be what's about to happen? That is something that I'm theorizing. I will talk more about that in another video with more details, but I'm going to talk more about what happens to markets, at least just for tomorrow. For right now, the market got a little dip towards the end of the day. We actually dipped a little bit on Tesla before getting bought back up. That's because of what Barkin was saying. Barkin came out and he said that inflation is coming down, but the Fed needs more room to assess policy. What this means is he said that it's not very good for people to believe that the Fed had to cut or do an emergency cut beforehand, he said the Fed may have to wait many weeks before deciding what they need to do next. So that's very important. He's basically kind of like negating the notion that the Fed has to cut now, and he's saying that the Fed needs to be more patient. Remember, guys, the robotaxi event was supposed to be on 8/8, which is today, but it was delayed just a little bit because of Elon Musk wanting some design changes and other factors like that. Completely fine, in my opinion. Tesla will be fine. Even if Tesla dips more, even if Tesla's undervalued, this will offer a lot more opportunity to buy it before the big event. So I'm completely fine with this. There's still a lot of news coming out about this, a lot of criticism. So apparently, the date is now going to be October 10th for the next robotaxi event, which is still not that far away. It's about 2 months away, which is not going to take that long. So we'll see how things go. On top of this, there's been a lot of talk about how the Cybertruck's first fatal crash happened, and now the NHTSA is seeking more information about it. So it's worth noting. I'm not going to make any claims about this quite yet. We're going to wait and see what else ends up coming out. But there was a crash that happened, and there was a fire, and they're going to be looking for more information from Tesla. So that's what the NHTSA is doing right now. They're probably going to do another investigation, and we'll see how things end up going right now. So I'll be waiting for this to see if there's any updates. For Tesla, just note that Cantor Fitzgerald gave us a neutral rating. The overall price price ratio is still down a bit as Tesla's a little bit weak compared to the market, but we could see this try to bounce if Tesla gains some strength. So this might shift. Volume is looking okay, only 64 million, but we don't need a whole lot of volume to go up because there's still a lot of present buyers within the markets and such. So that being said, that is it for the news. That's it for what's going on with the markets right now. I just want to shift your attention to what's happening with the charts. So Tesla is looking more bullish right now from a technical standpoint, despite the big sell-off we got yesterday. The market is full of manipulation, and with all the shorts piling in, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see more upside. However, watch your level for confirmation. If we hold above 200, Tesla will easily go up to 202 and 204 plus, and then even higher levels. If we lose 200, look for 198, and if that fails, it's going back down to 195. In my personal opinion, from a technical standpoint, we look a little bit more bullish on Tesla. It looks like it might be trying to go up to about 204 for tomorrow. So I favor upside a little bit more looking at the charts. But this also depends on the news that comes out. As you guys know, there's still conflicts in the Middle East and other factors like that. But from a technical standpoint, Tesla is looking a little bit more bullish. When pulling up the excuse me, the 4-hour time frame, we're also looking pretty good. We look like we might try to attempt to test our 202 area, this 20 EMA. So we're looking pretty much like we favor upside a bit more on Tesla. So in my opinion, that's what it's looking like from a technical standpoint. But don't be too fixated on that just yet. Make sure you watch your levels for confirmation. Will we hold above 200? Watch for that for tomorrow. If that's the case, Tesla will likely continue higher just temporarily. Just note the next big catalyst is going to be on next Tuesday and then next Wednesday as we have PPI and CPI. So the market may have some more leeway. For SPY, I want to note that we're in a very, very critical level. Notice that we did reject off this resistance at this 531 area multiple times. This is a very, very tough resistance. Now, that's going to be key for tomorrow. And it's very, very simple. My analysis is super simple. Okay. If we hold above 531 for tomorrow, and as long as we don't lose it, this thing may continue to squeeze up to about 535. If we lose 531, just like what happened last time, we got this big rug pull. The last time we had 531 SPY got this big rug pull, we'd be looking for a test of 528 and 525. And I think 525 would be more favorable if we end up rejecting off 531. It's that simple. So make sure you watch 531 as a key level. If we hold above it, we remain bullish. If we lose it, we turn back to bearish. I'll be watching just for confirmation. Just know the market is full of manipulation. Remember, we dumped super hard yesterday only to get bought back up. So are we pushing really hard to dump again? Who knows? I'm not going to make a call. I'm just going to say that it depends on the level. We are looking more bullish from a technical standpoint, but just to be safe, watch and see if 531 holds. I'll be very patient nonetheless. ES is also trying to push. Look at resistance at 53.66. This might dip a little bit more towards 53.60. If we break that, that's also where the high happened to be. I think we're going all the way up closer to about 5,400. We could get very close to 5,400 if that's the case. And if we reject, just like last time, we got this big dip, we're going to easily fall all the way back down to 5,300 towards our 20 EMA. So watch and see, do we get a rejection off ES or not? We're testing resistance. I'm going to be waiting for that just for confirmation. So give it some time by tomorrow. Be very patient with the market like this, and we'll see how things go. For SPX, okay, watch 53.25 or 50 EMA. If we break through this, we're going all the way up towards 53.60. and then possibly we may even attempt to fill the next gap. If we reject here, look at support at 52.80. If 52.80 breaks, we're going all the way back down to 52.50. So lose 52.80, we're bearish. Break 53.25, we're bullish. This chart's looking a little bit more like it wants to push as we have a nice structure here. We had this low here. We made a higher high, higher low. So we're trying to turn back up. This could just be a temporary move for the next leg down. So don't be too fixated on the upside. Don't think the market's going to squeeze forever. It might just be a temporary rally we're about to see. But just note that we look a little bit more bullish on SPX, which could favor upside. For Nvidia, watch resistance at not only 105, but also around this 108 area. If we continue to push above 105 and break past 106, we're going up to 108 plus and eventually 110. If we're bearish, if we lose 105, we're going back down to 103, our 50 EMA, followed by 102 and then 100. In my opinion, Nvidia is pushing even during the after hours, so I think it's going to test 106. If that breaks, we could be looking for a retest of 108. We had this low here. We made a new high, came down, made a higher low. So it might try to push higher. I think that Nvidia is favoring upside a little bit more. For Bitcoin, we're looking a little bit more like we're favoring upside. We got a nice breakout on Bitcoin. I told you if we broke past 60,000, look for 62,500 as potential targets. I think we came very close to that. We actually did test that. We could continue to go higher. There's no sign that Bitcoin is rejecting. So it remains bullish right now. But we do have resistance at 62,500. If Bitcoin does not hold above that, then yes, we could come back down. As of right now, I wouldn't necessarily say there's confirmation of that. So it still favors the upside. For other tickers out there, we also have NQ. NQ is doing something very similar. We actually have very similar setups throughout the market. Let me make it very clear that we're going to be looking at essentially this 200 EMA, 18,600. If we break that, we're going up to 18,800. That's going to be the previous support here becoming resistance. If we reject off 18,600, we're going to be dipping back down towards 18,300. The chart is favoring upside, so I think there's a good chance we try to continue to go higher from here. For the QQQ, it looks a little bit more bullish. We have this low here. We came up, made a higher low. We might be seeing a temporary push up. Just know, guys, just because I'm saying the market is uptrending just temporarily, it does not necessarily mean that it's going to last forever because we have CPI next week. The market could still get a big rug pull. So going back, CPI is going to be another big factor, but we're not really worried about that yet. We're at resistance at 448 on the QQQ. If we break that, we're going up to 455. If we fail, if we end up opening tomorrow below 448 and we fail to hold above it, look out below for 442. So will we get a rug pull to 442 or do we rally 6 points all the way up towards where we currently are? Well, above where we currently are from 449 all the way up to about 455, that's going to be 6 points. Are we going to see that or not? The QQQ is favoring upside. Looks like it wants to be pushing to the 450s to me. Just to be safe, we'll be watching for confirmation. For Aapl, we have a bullish wedge-like structure that is forming. If we lose support at 211, we're going to be dipping all the way down to about 207. If we break past 214, we're going to be looking for 216, then the gap fill for 220. I'd say Aapl looks a little bit more bullish. We're forming a very, very nice looking wedge right here. So if I were to draw this out for you, I would draw this. We're basically forming this pattern. This is looking like a wedge like this. If we break the structure, we're going to likely continue from here. So we have this nice looking structure just like this. If this breaks out, we could be testing our 200 EMA, the red line above, and eventually try to fill this gap so it looks more bullish. For other stocks out there, such as Palantir, we're looking a little bit more bullish. Make sure you look at resistance. Watch a test of 30. I think we're going to be testing 30 for a little bit of a push. If 30 breaks, we're going all the way up towards 31 plus. If you reject off 30, we're going to be tipping back down towards 28.32. This chart is favoring 30 plus in a nice little push, so I think upside is looking more probable. For Supermicro, we're looking like we want to rebound. So we dipped quite a bit, came down a little bit only to reclaim support. We got to hold above 510. If we hold above 510, we're going to be looking for 530. If we lose 510, we're going to be tipping back down towards 500 flat, if not below that, into the 490s. This chart's favoring that it's going to hold above 510 and start pushing higher. So I favor the upside in my personal opinion. For Rivian, we look a little bit more bullish. I think that what's going to happen is this might dip a little bit, and then we'll see if we get a bounce. It might be retesting 14.6. I think that's going to be retested. I think that the 20 EMA is trending upwards, so we're going to dip a little bit, And then if it bounces, we're going to be pushing back up to 15 plus. The bullish trend could continue. If we lose 14.5, we'll be tipping all the way down towards 14 flat. So watch and see a test of 14.6 and see if we bounce. That's going to be pivotal for the way we end up moving. For SoFi, we're on a bit of an uptrend right here. We're trying to bounce, but just like SPY, we're testing this resistance right over here. So watch this area. Do we break 6.7 or not? If we break it, I think we're going up to 6.8 and eventually $7. If we lose support and we reject, we'll be looking for basically 6.5. If that fails us, we're going all the way down to lower levels like 6.3. This chart is favoring upside. We have a nice looking structure right here, a little flag that could be forming, and this may lead to a little bit more upside. So the chart's favoring upside. If we break 6.7 for about almost $7, I think we're looking pretty good. For the IWM Russell 2000, I think that there's a good chance that we're going to continue to push. In my personal opinion, okay, I think that there's a good chance we try to fight for 208. If that breaks, we're going up towards 210 plus to 212. If that rejects, watch 205 as key support. If that fails, we're going down to 203, then the low 200s. I think this chart's going to be testing tomorrow 208. If we break that, we're only 1 point away. Right now, we're just under 207. If we break 208, we're bullish. If not, we're going to reject. So wait and see. That's going to be a key resistance, this 207 to 208 area. We might push a little bit more, but watch and see what kind of reaction we get. AMD has this resistance. If we reject off 136.5, we're going to be coming back down to 133, then 130. If we break this, we're going back up towards 140. We're kind of stuck in the middle, but this is favoring upside just slightly more for 140, in my personal opinion. For ARM, we're looking pretty good. If we break past 120, I'll be looking for 125. If we reject off 120, we'll be looking for a dip back down towards 114. This is favoring 120, like a little bit of a break right here to higher levels. So I think that ARM is looking a little bit more bullish. I think I favor the upside, so we'll see how that ends up going. So be very, very patient. For Coinbase, we have 200 as resistance. If we break through this, we'll be looking for a push all the way up towards this 208 to 210 area. If we reject off 200, look for a dip back down to 191. This chart is favoring upside. We have this low right here on coin. We came up, made a higher low, and instead of rejecting, we're pushing back up. So it favors like it wants to break 200, but just watch and see if that happens tomorrow for confirmation. If we reject here, we're coming back down to 191. If we break 200, we're going all the way back up to about 210. The chart looks like it wants to break 200, but just watch just to be safe. For Amazon, we're looking a little bit more bullish, but watch this 167 as resistance. If that breaks, we're going up to 170. If it rejects, look for 164. If that fails us, we have this gap to fill down to 161. So it's going to test 167 tomorrow. If it breaks, we're bullish. If not, we're bearish. This has a cup and handle like structure, so it does look a little bit more bullish, technically speaking. So we'll see if we get a rejection or not. I'm going to be very patient. For Meta has a cup and handle like structure. If we continue to push, watch this 510 area. If this breaks, we'll be going all the way up to about 515. If you reject here, look for 502 as our support. Right now, we're breaking the highs we made previously, so it's looking a little bit more bullish. It looks like it wants to go up to 515. It looks more favorable, so watch and see if that ends up being the case. Microsoft is just kind of shuffling right now between 404 and 402. If we break through that, I'll be looking for a push all the way up towards this like 408 area. So it looks a little bit more bullish. Watch and see just in case, because we're just shuffling. Google looks like it's going to dip a little bit. I think we might be retesting 163. If we bounce off that, we could continue higher. If we lose this, we turn back down. But I think there's going to be a little dip, and we'll see if it bounces or not. It's not looking as great as the others. GameStop looks a little bit more bullish. Look for a test of 21.16. If that bounces, we push higher, and we could continue to uptrend. If we lose that, we turn bearish. I think it might try to bounce. AMC is trying to rebound. Look for a resistance test at 5.05. So we'll see what kind of reaction we get. DJT. It's testing 26.39. If that breaks, we're going to be pushing all the way up towards 26.7 and possibly even higher levels. For the VIX, we're dipping right here towards our 200 EMA. Watch 22.76 as support. We'll see if we bounce or not. That's going to be a critical support for us. The 10-year treasury yield is going up after what Barkin said as he was being a little bit more hawkish, and the dollar is still in the middle. If it breaks 103.5, it's bullish. That could be bearish for the markets. If it loses 103, it could turn bearish. That would be bullish for the markets. So we're kind of stuck in the middle, so give this some time. With that being said, for Tesla, okay, watch your levels just for confirmation. But from a technical standpoint, we look like we're a little bit more bullish right now. So we'll see how things go. With that being said, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. Please have a good day/night or evening wherever you guys are around the world. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow before the market opens. Once again, there's not really much data coming out for Friday. Just remember that. The next time we have major data will be Tuesday/Wednesday when we have PPI and CPI data. Until then, Tesla's holding up well. It has some upside potential, but watch the levels just for confirmation. Be very, very patient. I thank you again for listening. Have a great day, guys, and peace out.